I'm Clayton. I'm really excited. I got to talk today with John Waterman, the historian, singer, songwriter, great guitarist, and just really nice guy who is going to be joining us here on the internet on Tuesday evening, April 21st at 7 o'clock for a program on a journey through the roots of American popular music. We'll be live streaming on Zoom. It will also be broadcast on the library's YouTube channel, which you can find by just going to YouTube and looking for the Thomas Crane Library. You can find us and know it's us because you'll see our iconic crane. There are also links from our calendar, which you can get to from thomascranelibrary.org. Just go to the front page, and it should be streaming, showing on the upcoming events, which you can see on the left side of our homepage. And we'll also have a Facebook event. There's going to be lots of ways to find it. If you do come and visit us on Zoom, if you get there early, there will be a waiting room. Anytime you actually get there, there will be a waiting room. But I will admit you as soon as we're ready to open the show, which will open a few minutes before 7 o'clock. And look forward to seeing you there. Please enjoy my conversation with John. Thank you, John, for joining me today. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you, Clayton, for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited that we get to kind of go into each other's homes and enable you to be in homes all across Quincy when we can't all gather together in a room. These are crazy times we're living in.
It's crazy times, and that's a nice way of looking at it. We all get to know each other as we are casually, I guess, a little more than we would. You know?
Through distance we actually we can lose some of the pretense and we just have to be ourselves, because what else is there left?
Right. Through distance we become closer together. It's
an interesting paradox. And some of what you're going to be talking about in this program is all about how music has brought us together, which in some ways also, it's through song that can be shared even remotely through wax or whatever different types of recordings there are, that we can share common experiences. I don't know, is there a segue here between how we're apart but bringing closer together, how, sharing music, and we've had recordings of music, but how even music itself as an instrument enables us to share stories across time even. I don't know,
I think music, popular music gets what I think of as popular music, and that's the music of all of us. That's whether it's small towns, cities, country, different regions, professions, whatever. It's and whether it's commercial or more homespun, because there's no clear line between the two. It's all music, and I think what that does is that tells our stories. It's a way we have of telling our stories, our collective stories, and our collective experiences, and our individual experiences that then become collective. And so, really, it's the music of a people it's part of what forms their identity as a people. It's part of what makes us a culture, And I think there's other things that make us a culture too, but that's a big function of popular music, and we do very much have a culture. It's we have experiences in history that we share, in some for good, or in some cases for not so good. But we're still sharing it. We still have those experiences.
Absolutely, and it's in those shared experiences that our culture is forged and celebrated or recognized. It's not always something we need to celebrate. Sometimes it's things we have to grapple with and come to the truth of.
Right, acknowledge and
acknowledge. Yeah.
But yeah, celebrating can be taken in more than one way. You can celebrate. We've come to think of celebrating as a festive thing. We celebrate a holiday, but there are holidays that are not happy occasions. There are events of mourning. So you can,
recognizing.
Yeah. So
and then like there's whole parts of music that we can think of that are not about a happy. There's the blues, right? Such an American icon that we find comfort by going into some of the hardest places in our hearts, and it's hardest humans experience, but and people who don't hear, why would you want to go into that? When did you first get into the blues? How did you develop a relationship with that kind of music?
Oh boy.
I know that's a big question.
Yeah, it's always hard. I just love the music.
Yeah.
But I love all music. I think, you know, I grew up, you know, my father listened to music. He had some records, not that many, and no blues records, but he liked artists like Louis Jordan, and some of those, what they call it, some of the early combos that were basically the roots of modern R&B, you know. And he appreciated, you know, he liked Billie Holiday, he liked stuff like that, he liked jazz. And so I was already listening to music, and then because of that, at one point, it was actually through a library. You know, we would go to the library when I was a kid, and I would check out records and
actual like vinyl.
Huh?
Was it actual vinyl? Yeah.
Oh yeah, well I'm a vinyl person.
Yeah, I can see you got a collection right next to you. Yeah.
That's just a small part of it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets to be kind of unwieldy whenever I have to move around. But,
it is not light. There's something about carrying, you know, our music collection in our phones that, like, it may not have the same, you know, experience. You can't enjoy the cover art or the liners or, you know, but it's a lot easier to move.
Yeah. Anyway, so I checked out some library. I checked out a record at the library that was it was different sounds of the 20th century, and it was interesting because it was a 2-record set, and the first record had some songs from World War I that I thought were just absolutely fascinating. And you know, a song about the Lusitania and Over There and stuff like that. And, you know, just the style and of the times. And then I'm listening to the second side, and I knew about some of the big bands, so there was some stuff I was familiar with. And then there was this song, this guy I'd never heard before. Heard of it was Hellhound on My Trail by Robert Johnson.
Oh, a classic.
I was a little kid. I was probably like 6th grade or something like that. And it got to that song. I was just like, wow, this is just really cool.
You lined up and said, where can I sell mine? That's great. Where can I mean, the whole story about Robert Johnson selling his soul at the crossroads.
Right.
Yeah. Saying, where do we get in line? Give me some of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just thought that was one of the most awesome things I'd heard. So that, you know, led, eventually.
That opened a door. Yeah.
Led to listening to a lot more blues, and, rock blues, you know. Stuff like that. That's what I gravitated towards, but I listen to everything, really.
Yeah. And so you got a wide, very promiscuous listening, which I think is very good. Do you find yourself playing a lot of different things, or do you find when you play that you gravitate towards certain styles of music as well?
I tend not to, or try not to, interchangeably think about style too much when I'm playing, and it's just about the song and whatever it happens to be. Sometimes I'll consciously aim for something and it comes out to not be that, or people don't hear it that way. And, you know, I'm just, it becomes more about the song and the performance and what it takes. And I'm not a big fan of labels. And that's
they're way too often constraining, not liberating. Yeah.
That's what I like about the term popular music. I kind of believe that there is just music, and it's all music, and it's you know, there's different influences that seep into it and different experiences that different people have had, but we're all human. We all have the same feelings, the same souls, and we all find a way to share that stuff through songs. You know? And,
I'm reminded, around the turn of the millennium, Richard Thompson did an album of 1,000 years of popular music. I don't know if you're familiar with that collection that he did. And he tried to take popular music from like Gregorian chants through, you know, there's lots of coffee in Brazil to, you know, I don't know, up through, I think he did like a Britney Spears song as well. And he's like, this is all popular music. This is music of the people. It's a beautiful thing.
Good. Yeah. You know, now that you mention it, I have heard of it. I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
But I have some. I have a number of Richard Thompson albums. I don't have that one, but I had some friends. Was it an album or was it a show he did?
I heard, I did not see it, so I heard it recorded in some fashion.
Yeah.
I've looked for it a couple of times. I'm not sure it's on a lot of the popular music platforms right now. Like I don't
Right.
think he makes it available on Spotify. You could probably find it on YouTube some
It
corner somewhere.
probably doesn't fit into enough of a label for them to.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I actually, my son was telling me of a playlist that somebody he knows put together that he was following that was all of the different, it was one song for each label that Spotify categorized as music, but it was just one. So it was like three, you know, however many hundreds of songs long, but each one representing a different genre, which I thought was kind of interesting itself to try to, you know,
Yeah.
a representation from each genre, but to put it all together. So
I think that's how it should. I love that idea.
yeah.
Have it all be together, and I mean, but it's also, it's nice to be able to focus on something for a while. So I'm going to just listen to the Stones or just Dylan or just.
Well, yeah, and when you get into the blues, there's so much like, or like such a like, jazz as a label. What does that even mean? Sometimes, I mean, to think about, everything from the Hot 5 and 7s and what Louis Armstrong was doing, 100 years ago to through, I mean, shoot, you just look at Miles Davis and like the 7 different revolutions or whatever that he, was responsible for. It's the same music. How is this like? It's all music. It goes back to what we were saying before.
Right.
Is that like these labels really don't mean anything when we're communicating musically? It's just communication. It's ideas in a nonverbal form. Sometimes the lyrics.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think there's a on some level, I guess there's an advantage to being able to group things according to, I want to listen to this kind of style. I mean, it's helpful for songwriting or performing. I want to focus on this. But other than that, other than being able to fit your personal needs at a certain moment, labels, a lot of it's unnecessarily dividing us.
Yeah.
A lot of it's separating things into, like, I don't know, different groups of people and stuff like that. It's not necessary.
Sometimes what matters is, can I dance to it? Or is it something that I can go to sleep to?
Yeah.
Like it can serve a different purpose, and so you can classify them in those kind of ways and have wide variety within those kind of classifications. So.
Yeah. I think I read. I think it was Duke Ellington, and jazz band leader, that a lot of people have been nudging towards being almost like a classical composer over the past,
right.
Yeah, since his death. But I read something that while he was alive, he said, I'm just doing folk music.
Yeah.
Which I think it's a pretty cool quote. I assume it was something along those lines, but yeah, that sort of sums it up. Interchange folk with popular. I prefer popular because it doesn't have certain ramifications to it that folk does. But
right. So how do we go from this, this common understanding, but it still has roots? So when you do a program like you're going to do for us about the roots of American popular music, we're talking about the roots of American popular culture. And you're drawn from a lot of different elements. So can you help us understand the framework? How far back are you going to go when we start talking? Because if we're talking about like the history of music, we can go back 1,000 years and as a people, since we've been able to record and share sounds with each other. But we're talking distinctly American culture.
We're talking distinctly American. So I do make mention of, songs imported from Britain. So we go back to the 18th century.
Okay.
And
so,
a lot of
we bring songs from Britain that then percolate here and then get forgotten, go back and get rediscovered by some guys in England, and they bring it back again.
Yeah, no, more or less. I mean, I don't delve into a whole lot of traditional music. Most of the program's original songs. So it's about. I mean, there's a couple traditional songs in there, but most of it is about stories or characters, um, stories being true events, things that happened. Um, Places like Dockery Plantation, that was it's considered one of the birthplaces of the blues. So there's a song about this location. And, I talk a little bit about some of the folks who live there and why Dockery is considered one of the
cradles of.
Yeah, one of the birthplaces of the blues. I talk a little bit about the song "The Unfortunate Rake," which was the 18th century English ballad. It found its way into this country, and what happened to that song when it got here, and how it evolved into the form. There was actually a couple different forms that we know of now. At least there's more than that, but two major ones. Stories like that, and then there's some other stories about individuals or songs even that affected our lives, or not our being with a capital O, as people.
Collective American lives.
Yeah. Or individuals. A woman who once told me a story about a song that had a certain meaning for her that she, when she was younger, heard during World War II. Songs about iconic individuals like Jimmie Rodgers, the singing brakeman, who was hugely influential on a number of different styles of music and a whole lot of performers. So these are all part of the foundation. I mean, we could have endless. There's an endless possibility of stories.
Right. Yeah, we're talking about the roots, but we have a forest here.
Yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, the most important thing is really always entertainment. I think good stories, or stories that are relevant to our lives and our experiences, can be entertaining and still be relevant. And I'm not a teacher. I'm a performer. So to me, the important thing is to make it entertaining. Try to make it fun for people.
John, I think you're being very humble. I think there's a lot of education that happens in entertainment too, that I appreciate, and I think that's a really important perspective. That and we should celebrate that in ourselves. And so it's good to feel good. There's a reason it feels good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
We can appreciate the intellectual places that we go, but we can also just appreciate that we're here to exist and experience this together. And just that common experience can be really joyful. So I appreciate you helping us share that with the city of Quincy and across all your work. So thank you, John. It's really a treasure to be able to work with you and help bring this passion for entertainment and our culture to a lot of people. I'm really excited to work with you to do this.
Thank you, Clayton. I'm really excited to work with you on this, and it's and thank you for this opportunity to present this show. I think it's a really good show. I think people will really enjoy it.
And I think so too. Thanks, John. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with John. My name is Clayton. I'm really had a great time talking with him, and I'm looking forward to his program. Just to remind you, it's happening on Tuesday evening, April 21st, starting at 7 o'clock. We'll be meeting and joining with you on Zoom. There will be a waiting room. If you join us there, when you come, just wait in the waiting room, and I will admit you. We'll be opening the room a little before 7 o'clock. Or you can watch us on YouTube, where it will be live streamed. Just go to the Thomas Crane Library YouTube page and look for our live stream when it's happening. Again, that will happen on April 21st at 7 o'clock. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Quincy Public Library will be streaming my show, The Roots of Popular Music in America, on Tuesday, April 21st at 7 p.m. I hope you'll check it out. Here's a song of mine called The Green at Lexington. I hope you enjoy it. This 19th
day of April, 5:30 in the morning, we met a rebel mob that of our coming had been warned. They had gathered in the pale first light of the rising sun, and they tried to face us down upon the green at Lexington. They numbered around 40, we were numbered many more. We were fit and polished as the uniforms we wore. They were raw and they were restless, and someone fired a gun, and 8 of them we killed upon the green at Lexington. And when the smoke had cleared away, their blood alone was shed. Nothing do they have to show for the wounded and the dead. And surely there's a father somewhere who will mourn the son who gave his life in folly on the green at Lexington. So now we walk the main road along the fields and farms, and in the town of Concord we'll secure their store of arms. Then we'll return to Boston and our work will be done, and they'll lay to rest those fallen on the green at Lexington.